I chose to explain the node sketching urban composition and its output 3D urban composition because it is an operation which happened over 5 times at the very beginning of the project as well as at the end. I find it interesting to see how the first loop differs from the last one. At first, it seems I am doing very small steps with not completely justified decisions, and over the process, the operation has a great impact on many others and is completely embedded in this network of operations. We are now going to go through every loop of this operation urban composition in an almost mechanical way.
We will now focus only on the nodes directly related to sketching urban composition. These nodes are still connected to a lot more than what you can see on this image, but they are not relevant for this example. Therefore, they are turned off. On the right side, the loop number, the inputs, and the output for each loop will be listed in this order. Loop 0. Determining input, urban norms. Informing input, references. Informing input, ideas and goals at the plot scale.
After a global understanding of the site and the competition brief, I made this sketch. I wanted to have a public space on the Spree side and to lead the people towards the space through a porosity on my plot. The Kuvristraße and the Schlesische Straße should still be defined through my volumes.
Informing input, variance of functioning volumes.
In this operation, I was trying out different volumes that would be roughly answering to the program in order to get a feeling of the scope of the project.
These inputs fed the operation sketching urban composition, loop number 0, and the output resulting of it is this 3D model. Loop 1. Informing input, guides for spatial requirements, for example, the Neufert. Determining input, depth. Influencing input, references.
Last year, I visited the building Walden 7 from Ricardo Bofill. This reference highly influenced the project in an indirect way, through its general atmosphere, and through the role played by the circulation and the network of views resulting of it.
Influencing input, ideas and goals at the building scale.
On this sketch, I described how the circulation was important to me, how it should make people gather and stay rather than just pass by, how a pedestrian street could become appealing and attract people to the public space on the Spree by having, for example, little bridges and balconies on the higher levels.
These inputs fed the first loop of sketching urban composition. The resulting output is this 3D model. Loop 2. Determining input, rationalize circulation. This 3D model is the output of the second loop of sketching urban composition. Loop 3. Determining input, area.
At this point, checking the areas of the urban compositions I had so far, I realized they were way under the requirements of the program. I would need to add square meters in the next round.
This 3D is the output of the third loop of urban composition. Loop 4. Informing input, construction details.
The details made me adjust the global shape of the building. Having a prefabricated wooden construction, it made sense to have as little exceptions on the grid as possible.
Informing input, perspective access balconies.
While designing more precisely the access balconies, my goal was to make the people gather and stop on this circulation. I intended to give it qualities, such as larger surfaces or unparalleled design to create niches and places to stop.
Informing input, diagram gardening concept.
Again, to make the inhabitants of the plot meet and gather, I imagined a system of shared vegetable gardens on the ground floor and at a smaller scale on the access balconies. This space had to be created on the ground floor and changed my global urban design.
This 3D model is the output of the last loop of sketching urban composition. Each 3D model became an input for following operations, such as rationalizing circulation, checking the areas, placing axes for structure and units, developing atmospherical situations on the ground floor.
Drawing the atmospheres on the ground floor was a very subjective operation. Indeed, during such a step, I don't rationalize too much, and I make very personal decisions, sometimes almost unconsciously, and not caring yet about justifications. Surprisingly, in the end, a lot of decisions made at this moment will actually stay in the project.
Drawing the ground floor plan, and more.